A very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on Programming for Problem Solving course. In our previous session, we have discussed the different types of loops available in C programming language. Okay, we said we have while loop, do while loop, and for loop. Among these three, we said the first while loop and for loop. The first two types of loops are pre-test loops, and the do while loop is a post-test loop. And we have I have given the full clarity on what you mean by pre-test loop and what you mean by post-test loop. So with that clarity, we have discussed different examples on these working of these loops, like how the while loop will work, how the for loop will work, and how the do while loop will work. All the clarity we have. Printing the natural numbers example I have shown you. How we can print the natural numbers on the output screen. Whatever range you want, isn't it? Simply to print the first 10 natural numbers without the loops, we have to write 10 printf statements. Then after the inclusion, after introduction to these loops, we said how the statement is from 10 statements to one statement we got, and simply with the help of a loop, how we have repeated that one statement for some n number of times. Whatever desired number of times we want that loop to iterate, we can do it by simply taking a proper termination condition and by making it a proper initialization and updation, isn't it? So yeah, we can do really good things with the help of these loops. Okay, we can in your programming, whatever output you are expecting, suppose if you want to print only the even numbers, if you want to print only the odd numbers, simply the natural numbers concept only we can take into consideration. And instead of doing the update only once, what we have to do the update twice. Like a plus plus over there we have written, so instead of a plus plus, what you have to write, a equals to a plus 2. If you do in that way, what will happen? A equals to a plus 2 or a plus equals to 2, like that also you can write, because compound assignment also we discussed. So a plus 2 equals to 2, when you are writing like that, it indicates a equals to a plus 2 only, isn't it? So if you simply increment the counter value, instead of 1, if you increment the counter value to 2, then what will happen? It will print either even or odd numbers according to our initialization. If you initialize a value to 1 and you increment the a value 2 at a time, then what will happen? 2 in each iteration. Then what will happen? It will print all the odd numbers. And at the same time, if you initialize a to 2 and increment 2 in each iteration, then it will print all the what we call even numbers. So let us quickly go to the IDE and we see that example over here, printing the even numbers. Okay, printing even numbers. Printing even numbers, the same program I'm writing, hash include, how we wrote the program to print the natural numbers, that same program will take the help over here. Okay, int main of void. Okay, here what we have to do, initialize a to some 1. Okay, then in each iteration take the while loop. You can take while loop, for loop, do while loop, whatever you wish. Okay, take the while loop. Then yeah, see here, every time we are taking a over here, generally when we are using loops, we don't use a over there, we use I, isn't it? I we use as a program counter. So that is the reason why I have changed, I have renamed it now from a to I. It doesn't make any difference, but it is something like a what we call programming practice, we can say. It is not a standard or something, it is something like a programming practice. Okay, whenever we use a loop, we use I as the counter for that loop to iterate. Okay, so because whenever a professional programmer will see your code, and if he sees I within the loop, he will consider that I as a loop counter. So that is the reason why we are using I only. We habituate ourselves to use I only. Okay, then what we have to do, suppose I want to print the first 10 even numbers, that is 1 to 10, that will be in the range of 1 to 20. Okay, so 1 to 20, so I must be less than or equals to 20. Okay, Then what I am doing, I will print only the odd numbers, no, even numbers we said. So we have to initialize I to 2. Okay, initialize I to 2 so that the counter will, so that the counter will start from 2 and every time we increment 2 2. Okay, so printf, print that I value, percentile D, I value we are printing. Here, between the even numbers, give one space. Okay, so here you put the semicolon at the end and updation. What updation I have to do? I supposedly increment I value with 2, I equals to I plus 2. So first we'll do like this and after that we'll make some corrections. Example 2.c, program got saved. Now you go compile, see the compilation, it is successful. Okay, then what I have to do? That's it, execute the program. Execute, run, see the output. It is printing all the even numbers from 1 to 20. All even numbers it is printing from 1 to 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. If you want to print it line by line, simply put \n over there. \n over here. Now you will get line by line. All even numbers, it will print line by line like this. See, same thing. If you want to print odd numbers, let us say if you want to print, here writing the counter increment by 2 like this, okay, you can even do I plus equals to. I plus equals to 2. That's it. I plus equals to 2. This will also give the same meaning. It is same thing. It is same like I equals to I plus 2. Instead of writing this thing, I equals to I plus 2, you can even write I plus equals to 2. Compound assignment. So now also you check compilation successful and go execute, you will get the same output. All even numbers it is printing from 1 to 20. Whatever even numbers you have between 1 to 20, it is printing all. Okay. Same thing if you want to print from 1 to 100, let us assume. Simply here what you have to do? 100 you have to do. Okay. Simply over here, just change the termination condition. So now what will happen? See, compile, run, you are getting 1 to 100. All even numbers from 1 to 100 it is printing on the output screen. Okay, like this you can develop small applications. Hopefully you understood. So this iteration, how many times it is doing? It is doing from 2 to 100 it is doing this iteration. So in the first iteration, I value will become 2 and it will compare with 100. As it is less than or equals to, I value 2 less than or equals to 100, 2 less than or equals to 100, condition becomes true. So it will execute the body. After executing the body, again it will go back to the loop. Okay, again it will go back to the loop. Once again it will check the condition. Now, when it iterates into the loop body, what will happen? I value gets incremented by 2. So 2 plus 2, 4 it will become. In the second iteration, I value will become 4. So in that way, you can print all the I values. Sorry, all the even numbers. Or suppose if you don't want to initialize like this, if you don't want to print like this, there is another way. We have a reminder operator, isn't it? We have a reminder operator. What it will do? It will check. It will give the reminder of a division operation, isn't it? It will give the reminder of a division operation. So that thing to assume. So let us say if I'm starting with if I'm starting I value with 1 from 1. So then I'm running like this. So now what will happen? In every iteration, let us say you want to increment I value by 1 only. I plus plus only you want to do. So then what you have to do means you have to put a condition over here. If at all my I modulo division 2 equals to 0. So this indicates the even number, isn't it? So I value modulo division 2 equals to 0 means whenever I value becomes even, then only this condition becomes true. And you will get the output on the output screen. Otherwise, whenever I value becomes odd, then what will happen? The remainder will not become 0, isn't it? The remainder will not become 0. So this condition will fail. Over here, whatever condition we are specifying, this condition will fail and it will not consider the body. Simply it will do the updation and return. Okay, go back to the next iteration. Likewise. So over here, what will happen? In the first iteration, I value 1 enters. I value 1 is less than or equals to 100. It is true. Condition is true. Then again we have if condition over here, if statement over here. So again it will come, it will do this calculation. 1 modulo division 2, that is 1 only. 1 modulo division 2, that is 1 only, which is not equals to 0. But here we are saying equals to 0. So the condition becomes fail. The conditions become false. So then if the condition becomes false, then what will happen? The control will not consider this particular statement. So it will not print any odd number on the output screen. It will not print 1 on the output screen. Simply it will increment I value. I value gets incremented. I value will become what now? I value will become 1 now. I value will become 2 now. So 1 plus 1, 2 now. Again, it will check the condition. 2 less than 100, it is correct. 2 modulo division 2, it is true. Because 2 modulo division 2 returns 0 only. So 0 equals to 0, condition becomes true. Condition becomes true, so it will print 2 on the output screen. And do the increment. I value will become 3 now. So 3 less than or equals to 100, condition true. Again it will come over here. 3 modulo division 2, that is 1. 1 equals to 0 we are saying. So this condition will become false. Again, if this condition false, it will not consider the body. It will not print 3. Okay, so far it has printed only 2. So likewise it will print only the even numbers. It will print only the even numbers from 1 to 100 on the output screen. So in this way we can utilize the loop to repeat the operation, because for every number we have to perform this type of operation from 1 to 100. So if you don't have the concept of loops, how many times you have to do the operation? If you are calculating, if you are finding the even numbers between 1 to 100, means you have to check 100 numbers for their even and odd nature, isn't it? Otherwise, with the help of these loops, we can frame the coding something like this. See, doing this coding, it is very easy. Just you have to practice some basic things. You have to practice some basic things, and ultimately you will get everything. Okay, small codes when you take, small problems when you take, and when you solve those problems in coding, in terms of coding, ultimately you will become master. So I suggest you to do one thing. See, in your mathematics you are doing so many things, isn't it? In your mathematics we have so many calculations, like doing multiplications, modulo divisions, finding even number, finding prime number, finding odd number. There are different types of numbers in your number system. So to find all those things, you just try to find out the proper logic, how we are checking whether a particular number is prime or not, how we are checking whether a particular number is even or not, odd or not. Try to write all those logics on a paper and try to solve those logics, because already we have completed the control structures. So now you have some good amount of basics in your hand. So use those basics in order to solve your mathematical issues, mathematical problems. Okay, so try to implement a basic level of calculator, like how we do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, other sine theta, cos theta, what are the possible values. All those things you find out, and you just try to frame all those things in programming, C programming. Okay, so quickly execute this one, compile, compilation successful, and run. It will print all even numbers from 1 to 100, as we said. So how we can print the odd numbers? Simply what we have to do here, when you are performing the modulo division operation, we are saying equals to. Simply say it not equals to. So whenever the reminder will become 1, in this case, whenever the reminder goes to 1, that number you will get on the output screen. And if the reminder is 0, that number will be skipped, isn't it? That number will be skipped. Whenever the reminder goes to 1, that number you will get on the output screen. So if the reminder, when you are dividing with 2, if the reminder is 1, those numbers are your odd numbers. So in this way, we are printing the odd numbers on the output screen. Hopefully you understood. So if the reminder is not 0, we are printing that number on the output screen. If the reminder is 0, we are skipping that number. So quickly compile and execute. See, like this, it is printing all even numbers from 1 to 100, including 1. It is considering it as an odd number. It is printing all odd numbers between 1 to 100 on the output screen. So hopefully you understood. So another important concept with respect to loops we have, that is this conditional branching and all we have discussed. Then loops also we have discussed. Okay, comparison of loops also we have done. So printing examples we have discussed. Okay, so nesting of loops, nesting of for loop. So nesting is nothing but taking one loop into another loop. Taking one loop into another loop is nothing but nesting of loop. So generally we do this type of thing only for loops. You can even do with while and do while also, but as we have so much flexibility of using for loop as for loop, isn't it? We have so much flexibility because when we are using for loop, we are doing initialization, condition, updation in one shot only. In one shot. I mean, where you are writing the for keyword, after the for keyword only you are mentioning all those things. Your initialization, your updation, your condition, everything there only you are specifying. So it is a more flexible form of loop, we can say, for loop. So we see only how we can nest a for loop within another for loop. Okay, within another for loop. So nesting of for loop, we will do something like this. I will show you the syntax over here. I think yeah, we don't have the syntax, so I will write over here. So let me just connect my writing pad. Okay, so taking the for loop within a for loop is nothing but nesting of for loop, and that we see like this: for followed by, here we do the initialization, isn't it? Initialization, then we put semicolon, then we do condition, and then another semicolon, then updation. Like this we do all these things inside a for loop only. Okay, then nesting means you have to take another for loop. For this also same thing: initialization, condition, then updation. So like this, if you have taken a for loop within another for loop, we call it as nesting of for loop, nested for loop, nesting of for loop, or nested for loop. Nested for loop is nothing but having a for loop as part of another for loop. Having a for loop as part of another for loop is nothing but nesting of for loop. Yeah, we can do the nesting with all other formats of loops, like your while loop, do while loop. But we said your for loop, it is more flexible type of loop, so we were discussing only with respect to this for loop. Okay, so quickly I will see generally why we do this nesting means, in order to print I mean, when you have arrays concept, in order to print the values from a two-dimensional array. So whenever we are printing the values from a two-dimensional array, we need a nested for loop over there. Okay, so that is the reason why, as the last concept, we are discussing this nested for loop. So let us assume we have some numerical values. Okay, we have some numerical values, and all those numerical values I want to print like rows and columns, like in a matrix form I want to print. Okay, like in a matrix form I want to print. So for that sake, what we do, we take loops. Okay, we take loops. So printing the values in matrix form. So yeah, I'm starting the program. Okay, here I think I forgot to start the main function. Int main of void. See how I am writing the program. Every time you have to follow the same structure of C program. So over here I am taking two counters, I comma j. Okay, then I am taking a for loop. I value I am initializing to 0. I must be less than. I want to print 3 rows. So first it will give the rows. 3 rows I want to print, then I plus plus. Then the second loop, for loop I am taking, and I want to print 4 columns. Okay, so first outer loop will give the rows, how many rows you want in your matrix form, and inner loop will give the columns, how many columns you want in the what we say, matrix form. So I want 4 columns, as I said. So then j plus plus. So I hope you are understanding all these things. So then yeah, here like this you have to do. Generally whenever we are printing in matrix form, Internal loop, you put only one statement. We are keeping only one statement, percentile D, give some space, comma J. Outer loop, we have for loop as well as this particular statement I want to print, one backslash n. Because after completing the row, it has to go to the next row. Once it has completed the first row, it has to go to the next row. So for that sake, we are taking backslash n. I will make you understand this entire code, don't you worry. So simply compile, compilation successful, and run. See how we are getting. I think the loop is entering into infinity. Here I said equals to 4. It should be less than 4. Okay, compile and run. See, it is giving how. From 0 it is starting 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 4 column it has printed and 3 rows it has printed. So if I start from 1 instead of 0, if I start from 1. Okay, if I start from 1, then what will happen? Compile. Sorry, I need to compile this. Compile, compilation successful, then run. See, 1, 2, 3, and here it is stopping. Only 2 rows it is printing and only 3 columns it is printing. So here you make it as equals to. See, all these changes, why I am doing, you have to understand. I mean, as you do the changes, your output is getting affected. So here, make it equal, make it equal. Now you save. See, like this, run. Like this you will get. Suppose if you want like a pyramid form or like a triangle form, numbers. So instead of making this j less than or equals to 4, here you put I and see how it will change. And see how it will change. Compile, so I have to compile, then compile, compilation successful. Now you run. See, it is printing like a triangle. It is printing like a triangle. Say 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, likewise it is printing. If you want more over there, simply make it as like 10. More rows you want, simply make it like 10. So now it will print 10 rows. See how many rows it is printing. 10 rows it is printing. So all these magics you can do with the help of loops. Initially I have started, with minimum complexity, then slowly I have increased the complexity. You have to work on all these examples, whatever I have shown, okay, so far. See, whatever loop we are writing over here, the for loop, first we are doing the initialization, then we are doing the condition, then we are doing the updation. So first what will happen in the first iteration, the loop will do only initialization, then it will check the condition. In the for loop, first it will do the initialization, then it will check the condition. So if we are doing like this, so I will take the simple example. Instead of like this, printf hello. Hello. How many times this hello you will get on the output screen? How many times this hello you will get on the output screen? You will get like 10 times, because we are starting with 1, okay, and stopping at 10. So in first iteration, what will happen? I value will be initialized to 1. So now my I value is 1. Then it is checking the condition. Then it will check the condition. So 1 is less than or equals to 10. Condition true. So if the condition true, it will enter into the body. It will execute the body. So it will print this hello message on the output screen. And after printing, again it will go back and do the updation. So in the first iteration, what it has done? In the first iteration, it has done only the initialization and condition check. Only these two things it has done. But updation it has not done. Updation when it will do after executing the body, when it returns back to the loop, then it will do the updation. Then it will do the updation. After updation, again it will check the condition. It will not go to the initialization. Remember this one. Initialization it will do only in the first iteration. In the first iteration, only it will do the initialization. I will go to the whiteboard and I will explain. So for the for loop, when you are writing like this, I equals to 1, I must be less than or equals to 10, and I plus plus. Whenever you are writing like this, you have to understand, like printf we are writing and followed by some statements we are writing. So in the first iteration, the control will come to the for loop. It will do the initialization. I value becomes 1. Then it will do the condition check. After initialization, it will do the condition check. Condition will return true, isn't it? Here the condition is true because 1 is less than or equals to 10. The condition is true. Then what it will do? It will execute the body. It will execute the body. After executing the body, again it will come back because it is a loop. Again it will come back to the loop, and this time it will not go to the initialization part. This time it will not go to the initialization part, rather it will go to the updation part. It will go to the updation part. So updation we are doing, so I value gets incremented. Now I value will become 2 because we said I plus plus. So I already 1 we have, so 1 plus 1 it will become 2. So I value is 2 now. And after updating, again it will go to the condition. Again it will go to the condition. Okay, so 2 less than or equals to 10 condition, again here also true, here also true. So again it will execute body. So whenever the condition goes to true, it will execute the body. And if the condition goes to false, what it will do, it will simply skip this entire thing and it will come out of the loop. It will skip this entire thing and it will come out of the loop like this. It will come out of the loop. And this thing, when it will happen, if the condition becomes false. If the condition becomes false, it will take this path. Okay, and if the condition true, it will execute the body and it will go back to the updation and again condition. Likewise, how far it will do, as long as 3, 4, 5, 6, all these you will get satisfied. All these you will get positives, like true, true only you will get. Here also true, 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 here also true. 9, and for 10 also you will get true, true only. So when 10 becomes less than or equals to 10 becomes true, again it will execute the body and again it will do the updation. Again it will go back and do the updation. So now I value will become 11. So when the I value is 11, what will happen? 11 is less than or equals to 10. Condition becomes false. Condition becomes false. So what path it will select? It will select this path and it will exit from the loop. It will exit from the loop. So when I value goes to 11, the condition becomes false and the loop will exit. So in this way, it will execute this particular statements. Whatever statements we have taken over here, in that way, it will execute. That is the reason why we got hello 10 times on the output screen. Okay, or even instead of this hello, if you want how the I value is changing, simply put percentile D. Already we did this one, percentile D over here, and print the I value. Print the I value. Now you get I value from 1 to 10, and when I value becomes 11, the condition will fail. 1 to 10 we are getting. When I value goes to 11, the condition will fail. And I have also shown how you can nest a loop, and using nested loop, how you can print the matrix form of values on the output screen. That also we have seen. So quickly, printing numbers in matrix form, that also I have seen. So the different forms of for loop. Okay, so as we said, the for loop, it is having 3 parts: initialization, condition, and updation. You can skip any of these and you can put in a different place, like how we are doing in case of while and do while. Okay, how we are doing in case of while and do while. In case of while and do while, we are keeping only the condition in between the parentheses, and initialization before the loop we are doing, updation within the loop we are doing. Okay, as part of body of the loop we are doing updation. So here in case of for loop also you can do the same thing. You can see this option 1 form of your for loop. What I have done, I have skipped here. What I have skipped the updation part. Here I have skipped the updation part. That updation where I have written as part of your body of the loop. This is your updation. This is your updation. Updation I have written as part of your body of the loop. Okay, so like this you can do. The second option is you can skip the initialization part. You can skip the initialization part. That initialization you can do before the loop. Initialization you can do before the loop. See, in previous case, updation we skipped and we kept inside the body of the loop, like your other form of loop. Then in the second option, we skipped initialization part and we kept before the loop. Before the loop, like this also you can do. So every time, whenever you are skipping, it doesn't mean that you have to skip this semicolon. Your for loop must and should have 2 semicolons in between the parentheses. Whatever part you are skipping, just skip that one, but don't skip the semicolon. Put the semicolon as it is. Put the semicolon as it is. Just skip or ignore whatever part you want to do in a different place. Like if you want to do initialization in a different place, do it, but don't skip the semicolon. Okay, here as we have done, semicolon we kept, but the initialization before the loop we have done. Okay, then updation, that also we have skipped over here, but semicolon we have not skipped. So like this. And the third form is how you can make the loop infinite. How you can make the for loop infinite means simply skip all three parts. Don't do initialization, don't put any termination condition, and don't put any updation. If you skip all these three things, then ultimately what will happen? Your loop will enter into infinite. So that I will show you. Simply what I have done over there, I am doing like I am skipping everything, so I am keeping two semicolons. Semicolons we should not skip. Initialization we are skipping, updation we are skipping, and termination condition we are skipping. But we should not skip the semicolons, as I said. So here I am printing some message like ABC. Okay, this ABC, how many times it will repeat? No need of this thing, because we are not doing any initialization, any updation. How many times this ABC you are expecting on the output screen? Infinite number of times. Compilation, it is successful. Just see the run. See, it is keep on printing ABC on your output screen. So it is, your loop has entered into infinite. Your loop has entered into infinite. Because of that reason, it is printing ABC keep on the output screen. Hope you understood this. Okay, three forms of for loop: skipping the skipping the updation part, do the updation as part of body of the loop. Skipping the initialization part, do the initialization before the body of the loop. And skipping all three will make your loop to become an infinite loop. Skipping all three, like initialization, updation, termination, condition, will make your for loop to become an infinite loop. Okay, infinite loop. These three things you have to remember along with the nesting of for loop. Okay, and there are two other statements that we have to focus apart from the looping parts, apart from the looping cases. They are break and continue statements. Break and continue statements. So these two statements, they are associated with our loops. They are associated with our loops. They have a part, they have a role in looping principle. Okay, that is the reason why we have to discuss these two statements: break statement and continue statement. Okay, break statement and continue statement. Other looping statements, break and continue. Over here I have written other looping statements, break and continue. So first we will discuss what exactly this break statement is. About this break statement, already we have a conversation when we discussed switch case. Switch case statement, multi-way selection statement, switch case selection statement we discussed. Switch statement we discussed. And in that switch statement, we said in order to break every case, or in order to terminate the control after every case, after satisfying every case, we are keeping a break statement over there. And we said whenever the control sees the break, whenever the control sees the break statement, or whenever the control executes this break statement, it will immediately look for a closing bracket, closing block. It will immediately look for a closing block, and between that break statement and the closing block, whatever statements you have, all those statements will get skipped. All those statements will get skipped. And if it is used, this break statement, if it is used inside a loop, the remaining iterations will also be skipped. The remaining iterations will also be skipped. So this thing to understand, let us quickly take the example of our whiteboard. So I'm removing this. Let us say we are writing a loop. So first we'll discuss with normal two-way or multi-way selection. Okay, two-way or multi-way selection. Let us say if you are writing like this: if followed by some condition, then you have written these statements over here, like 5 statements I have written. Okay, then I am keeping one break. Okay, then another 5 statements I am writing. So this is another 5 statements. So then I am closing my block. If statement block, I am closing over here. So now what will happen? Yeah, first the control will enter. If the condition becomes false, then this entire block will be skipped. This entire block will be skipped. And if the condition becomes true, the control will enter into the block. The control will enter into the block, and it will execute this first 5 statements. It will execute this first 5 statements. Then it sees, then it executes this break. Then it executes this break. So the break statement tells the control to skip the remaining statements, whatever statements you have within this if condition, to skip all those statements and go to the closing of the block. Directly go to the closing of the block. And where we have that closing of the block? Over here. Here we have that closing of the block. Here we have that closing of the block. So immediately the control will jump from here to here by skipping all these. By skipping all these statements. It will not execute these statements, simply it will skip to that point. So this thing to understand, let us quickly go and write some piece of code over here. So I will just make the condition true. Int I equals to 1 I am taking, and if at all I value is less than 10. It is less than 10 only, right? So do this thing. So I am writing printf hello. Okay. How many times? Let us say I'm writing this simple statement some 4 times or 5 times. Hit enter, control V, third time, fourth time, fifth time. Okay, then I'm keeping my break. Then I'm keeping my break, and here what I'm doing, I'm changing this. Instead of hello, here I'm keeping world. World. Okay. So this world I'm writing like 5 times again. Three time, fourth time, fifth time. So now save the program. So now what I have done over here, you can see initialize. I have initialized inside the main. I have initialized I value to 1. Wantedly I am doing this one because I want my condition to be true. So I is less than 10. The condition is true now. So it will enter into the block. It will enter into the block and it will execute these 5 statements without any hurdle, without any problem. It will execute these 5 statements. And after execution of these 5 statements, you have the break statement. So this break statement, what it tells the control to simply jump to the closing block. Closing of the block. Closing of the block is nothing but closing parenthesis, this one. Because this entire thing is a block and this is the opening block and this is closing block. Okay, so the break statement, it tells the control to jump to the closing block. So what it will do, it will simply jump from here to here. See that output. Okay, it is saying, yeah, break statement not within loop or not within switch. So it is simply a break statement you have to use only within the for loop or only within the switch case statement. So here we have other forms so that we can skip. So that is the reason why this break statement, it is not supporting within if. So what we do, what I said, as we said, if you use the if condition, if you use this break statement as part of a loop. So let us say for all I equals to 1, I is less than or equals to some 10. Okay, then I plus plus, we are saying like this. It is a normal loop, and how many times this loop will iterate? This loop iterate for some 10 number of times. From 1 to 10 it will iterate. 10 number of times it will iterate. So remember this condition, remember this thing. Break, it can be used only within a for loop or only within a switch case statement. It can't be used in other form of control structures. It can't be used in other form of control structures. That is the reason why I have given this example, and over here you can read that error as well. Break statement not within a loop or a switch. All forms of loops you can use the break statement, and including switch case statement. Other forms of control structures, they do not support the break statement. Okay, they do not support break statement, and if you use the break statement in such a way, you will get an error. Okay, so for loop I equals to 1, I is less than 10, less than or equals to 10, I plus plus. So this loop will iterate 10 times. So I want to iterate only 5 times, and I want to skip when my I value goes to what we call, first it is starting with 1, right? So when I value goes to 6, so after 6, whatever iterations we have, all those iterations I want to skip. So for that, what you have to do is print one statement, printf. Okay, here you put hello world. Hello world. Entire thing you write. Hello world. \n. Okay, then you close this one. Then you close this one. So after this, what we have to do? If at all my I value becomes equals to 6, then break. Then break. So without this if, how many times this loop will iterate? This loop will iterate 10 times. But when you keep this if, what will happen? Once the I value goes to 6, this remaining 5 iterations, they will be skipped. Remaining 5 iterations, they will be skipped. So I hope this thing we have to write before this printf. Before this printf we have to write. So we will go and we will see how accordingly we can modify. So over here, what I have done, I'm taking a counter I, then I'm writing a for loop for all I value must be equals to 1, I must be less than or equals to 10, then I plus plus I have written. It is a simple form of loop, and here what I am doing, I am keeping one statement hello world. Okay, then backslash n. So this statement, I am removing all these things. I'm removing all these things, and this particular statement, how many times it will print on the output screen? According to our loop, it will print 10 times. So that basic operation, I will see only this much of code I have written, nothing else I have written. Only this much of code I have written. Okay, this entire thing is your part of the C program, and only this thing I have written. Okay, int I, and then for all I equals to 1 to I equals to 1, I must be less than or equals to 10, and I plus plus, then printf statement. So how many times this hello world will be printed? 10 times. See, 10 times we are getting hello world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times we are getting hello world on the output screen. But I want, from these 10 iterations, I want only the first 5 iterations. The last 5 iterations I don't want. So what I have to do, when my I value goes to 6, when I value goes to 6, then simply break. So when I value becomes, so in the first iteration I value will be 1. So this condition becomes false. So break will not be considered. Same thing for when I value is 2, I value is 3, I value is 4, I value is 5. As long as I value is 5, also same thing. What it will do? It will come over here and it will check. Okay, it will come over here and it will check. So I value is not equals to 6. 5 equals to 6 we are saying. So condition will become false over here again. So again this printf hello world will be printed. Then after this I value becomes 6. When I value becomes 6, then this condition will become true and break. It will simply jump to the closing bracket. So, and we said it will not only close the current iteration, but it will also do the skipping of the remaining iterations as well. It will not only skip that one, but it will also skip the remaining iterations. So simply go and check that one, compile, compilation successful, then run. See, we are getting only 5 hello worlds now. The remaining 5 iterations, they got skipped when you use this break statement within the loop. If you use the break statement within the loop, what it will do? It will skip the remaining iterations. Okay, it will skip the remaining iterations. So likewise, you can remember. Okay, so the demonstration I have shown you. See, inside a while loop, when we are using, whenever you are seeing break, it is simply skipping the remaining. These 3 dots indicates the remaining set of statements. It is executing only these parts. Okay, and these parts it is simply skipping by going to the closing bracket, closing block. Here also same thing. It will go to the closing block. It will go to the closing block. That means it will not only skip the current iteration, but also it will skip the remaining iterations. Likewise, you remember, it will also skip the remaining iterations. So then demonstration, we have seen program demonstration for break statement. I have shown you. Okay, program demonstration also we have seen. Then the continue statement. Yeah, continue statement, what it will do means it will only skip the current iteration. Rest of the iterations it will not skip. It will skip only the current iteration. Only the current iteration will be skipped by the continue statement, and the counter will continue, or the control will continue with the remaining iterations. That is the name, as the name indicates. Break means break the current iteration as well as the entire loop. Continue means only break the current iteration but continue with the remaining iterations. Only break the current iteration but continue with the remaining iterations. So here, to understand that one, instead of printing hello world, what I do is I will print I value, %d \n comma I value I am printing. So without this, if I skip this one, Without this, how the output will be? Output, we will get all the things, isn't it? We'll get 1 to 10, as you can see here. We are getting 1 to 10. But with this if condition, when I value goes to 6, it will skip not only the current iteration, but also the remaining iterations. The break will skip not only the current iteration, but also the remaining iterations. So it will print only 1 to 5. It will print only 1 to 5. As you can see, it is giving only 1 to 5. The first iteration, first 5 iterations only it is considering. Remaining iterations it is skipping. But when you use the continue over here, continue, it will skip only the current iteration. That means when I value goes to 6, only that iteration will be skipped. Only that iteration will be skipped, and remaining iterations like when I value is 7, when I value is 8, when I value is 9, all those iterations will be considered. It will simply continue with the remaining iterations. It will not skip the remaining iterations. Just see that one. So only the 6 got skipped over here, as you can see. Between 5 and 7, we don't have 6. Only the 6 got skipped, and remaining like 7, 8, 9, 10 iterations, it is continuing. It is continuing with the remaining iterations. So this is the logic behind using break and continue statements. Remember once again, the break statement, what it will do, it will skip not only the current iteration, but also the remaining iterations of your loop. But whereas while loop, continue statements we are talking, it will only skip, as you can see over here. It is only skipping whenever the continue is coming, whenever it is executing the continue, followed by a condition. Here we must have to put a condition, followed by a condition, and if the condition goes to true, the continue will be evaluated. Whenever it is evaluating the continue, it will continue with the next iteration. It will skip only the current iteration, but it will continue with the next iteration. And in all iterations, it will print whatever statements you have before the continue. That statements will be evaluated in all iterations. Nothing will be skipping like kind of thing over there. Okay. So hope you understood these things. Break and continue and nesting of for loop. Different forms of for loop. These things we discussed in today's class. The first thing, nesting of for loop. How we can nest a for loop within another for loop to print the two-dimensional array or to print the numbers in matrix form. We are generally doing that one. Nesting of for loop within another for loop. Then the different forms of for loop, we said we can skip the initialization part, we can skip the updation part, we can skip all three as well. Skipping the part doesn't mean that you can skip the semicolons as well. You should not skip the semicolons. Semicolons should remain always in the between the parentheses. Okay. If you are skipping the initialization part, just write the initialization part before the for loop. Do the proper initialization before the for loop. And if you are skipping the updation part, do the proper updation within the body of the loop. And if you skip all three, like initialization, termination condition, and updation, then your loop will enter into infinity. Your loop will become an infinite loop. Okay. Then we discussed break statement. Break statement, whenever executes within the loop, it will skip not only the current iteration but also the remaining iterations. But whereas continue, whenever it comes within the loop, it skips only the remaining part of the current iteration. And it continues with the next iteration as usual. Hopefully you understood this thing. Okay, the remaining part of this second unit, we have two things. One is arrays, one is strings. Arrays I will take 2 classes, strings I will take 2 classes, hopefully. Thank you very much, students.